So on to our warm-up for today. You will need a pen or pencil and a piece of paper. Make sure you've put away any distractions, turn your phone off if you need to. So today it's about different tenses. That's working out whether writing here is telling us about something that will happen in the future, something that's happening now, something that's happened in the past, something that's happened in the past and is still continuing. We are going to start by trying to identify the different parts of this sentence. We are going to look at the words and see if we can say which type of word they are. Now, it's a little bit of a tricky one to start with. The word in green, the word the, what type of word is the? And I did ask you to use this in your tree poetry last week. Were you right? This is called a determiner and it usually refers to a noun. So in this case, it's the boy. Secondly, the purple words. What type of words are the purple words? We've got small and late. Stop the video and write down which type of word you think it is. They are. These are both adjectives. They are descriptive words. Okay, number 3. There are 2 nouns in this sentence. Can you find them? Did you spot that it was boy and school? Nouns are the name of something. It can be an object, it could be an abstract idea. And number 4, you need to be looking for the verbs in this sentence, and I can see 2. So the verbs here are was running and was late. Remember, verbs are doing words, but they can also be being words. So here was running, that's what the boy was doing. Was late is a being word, he was late. Next word type is a preposition, another tricky one. This, in this sentence, is telling us where. Can you stop the video and see if you can write down the preposition? The preposition here is to, and we used that in our tree poetry as well last week. Okay, we've actually got 2 sentences here and they are joined by a conjunction. Can you stop the video and write down the conjunction? You probably did. We've been doing conjunctions since year 2 and it's the word because. It links the 2 sentences together. And finally, can you spot the pronoun? A pronoun is a word that can be used to replace a noun. And in this case, I'll give you a clue, it's replacing the word boy. Yep, you've probably got that. It's the word he. We could say the small boy was running to school because the small boy was late. But we would say and we would write the word he. We would replace the boy. Now, which part of this sentence tells us it's tense? Which part tells us if this event happened in the past, whether it's still happening, whether it's going to happen in the future? Stop the video and have a think, jot down your ideas. It's actually the verbs in a sentence tell us when this event happened or is likely to happen. Right, let's have a look at verb tenses. So the simple past and the simple present, this is what you use in your writing every single day. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about here. The simple past describes events which happened sometime in the past but are now completed. And here's an example. Yesterday I walked along the River Lee. I did that, I finished. The simple present describes events which happen often. I sing in a band. That implies that I do this quite often. I didn't just do it once and not anymore. I sing in a band. I could add on I sing in a band every week. That's the present tense. Now, a little activity for you. I'd like you to draw a very simple table just across and put the headings. And I'd like you to sort these 6 sentences into they're either written in the simple past tense, an event that happened and is no longer happening, or an event that happens often. Stop the video and sort the 6 sentences. Right, simple past, events that had happened and they're over with. She read a book, Jim ate his lunch, we played football. Simple present, I bake cakes. I bake cakes every Thursday. It's something that I do often. Our teacher helps us. She helps us in every lesson. Agnes swims for a club. Agnes swims for a club every Monday and Thursday. Now, need your imagination for this. I'm going to click on a picture. Let's try this one. And I'm then going to spin the wheel. Oh, and it's landed on simple past. So can you write a sentence using the past tense about this picture? My sentence might be, last summer I visited the beach in Norfolk. Off you go. Stop the video. Right, let's try another one. Let's click on this picture. We'll spin the wheel. Oh, simple present. So here we have a child eating his dinner. I might say, Bob enjoys eating broccoli, or Bob enjoys broccoli. It's something he doesn't just do once, he enjoys it every time he eats. Can you write a sentence in the present tense to describe what Bob does often, and it has to link to that picture? Stop the video while you jot down your ideas. Aha, here we have somebody knitting. Let's spin the wheel. The simple present. Okay, so we need to think of a sentence that's written in the present tense. I'm going to write Pete knits every weekend. Pete knits every weekend is something he does often. Off you go, stop the video. Can you write a sentence in the present tense linked to that picture? Let's try one more. Aha. Oh, the simple past. Well, that works well if you were up early on Saturday morning, because over in Hertford we definitely had a flurry of snow. I could write, on Saturday morning I built a fabulous snowman. It's an event that I did and it's over with. Stop the video and write a sentence in the past tense about this snowman. So let's move on. What is the present perfect tense? Now again, this is a little bit more tricky, but you do use it when you speak and when you write. Let's have a look. The present perfect can be used for a lot of reasons, but I'm just going to look at 2 here. So firstly, it describes something that happened in the past and still continues. For example, I have lived in Cheshunt for 5 years. I still live in Cheshunt, but I've also done it for the past 5 years. It's like a continuous happening. The second reason for using the present perfect that we're looking at today, it describes an action that's recently finished. I have finished my breakfast. And you'd probably say that just after you've finished it. You might say to one of the helpers at lunchtime, I've finished my lunch. You definitely say to me, oh, I've finished my work, Mrs. Jackson, and you tell me just after you've finished it. So let's have a look at 4 sentences that are written in the present perfect. I have baked a cake. My mum has tidied my room. Our dog has ruined the vegetable garden. We have eaten all the sweets. What do you notice about these present perfect sentences? Look at the words highlighted in pink. Stop the video and jot down your ideas. Well, when we write in the present perfect, we've got 2 verbs here. We've got the past tense of the doing. So here someone baked a cake, tidied a room, ruined the vegetable garden and ate all the sweets. But to write it in the present perfect, we have to have the verb to have in front of that. I have baked. My mum has tidied. Our dog has ruined. We have eaten. The verb have here is called an auxiliary verb, and it needs to come before the past tense of the main verb. Have a little practice. What you need to do is draw another chart, put the simple past tense and then the present perfect tense, and try and sort these sentences, there'll be 3 this side and 3 that side, into the tense that they are written in. Remember, the simple past is something that happened and is finished. The present perfect is something that's happened and is continuing, or something that finished only just recently. Stop the video and give this a go. So, the simple past. I read a great book. I ate everything. Sue ran a long way. All these things are finished. They're over and done with a long time ago. Laura has read a book about archaeology. Jamal has eaten his lunch. I have walked a long way. Final activity. Can you write descriptions of these photos in the present perfect tense? So either I have, or he has, or she has, or we have, before you use the main verb. Here are my ideas. Look, I have constructed a brilliant fortress. We've got the auxiliary verb have with the past tense of the verb construct. Constructed. And for this young man here, William has baked a lot of cakes this morning. So he's recently finished baking cakes. I've recently finished constructing a fortress. Stop the video and write a sentence about this picture, in the present perfect. This week, our English work will be focused on doors. And to get you thinking about the possibilities of writing about doors, I'm going to show you some photographs and ask you some questions about them. All of these photographs were taken by Mrs. Carl on one of her daily walks. They're all doors from the Cheshunt area. They're absolutely brilliant photographs. Maybe you know where these doors are. Ever looked at a door and wondered what could be on the other side? Why do you think this door is locked? Where could this doorway lead to? Would you like to go through this arch and explore? What could be hiding behind this door? Who could live here? What could this ornate door be protecting? And finally, why has this door been bricked up? Now, all of those questions were asked by an English teacher called Jamie Thomas, and he also wrote, at first glance, a door is just a piece of wood, glass or metal that's opened and closed so that people can get in and out of a room, in and out of a vehicle, or in and out of a space. But in the hands of a writer, a door represents a world of possibility, a world where things are not only hidden but often closed off and restricted. This week we shall explore the potential that a door offers to a writer. So get your pen or pencil ready and your piece of paper, and you'll also need your imagination. We're going to start off with this door. Now, at first glance, I thought, oh, maybe it's been abandoned because the paint is peeling. But then I looked at the flowers, and they're fresh flowers that would need looking after and nurturing and watering. So this is a little bit of a confusing door to me. Someone obviously comes there to tend the flowers, but they haven't looked after the door. Now, I want you to imagine what could be behind this door. And I really want your imagination to run wild here. I want you to write on your piece of paper, I opened the magical door and saw, and then just write a list, a simple list of things you could have seen. Yup, they could be an abstract idea or they could be actual objects. Here's my ideas to get you going. So stop the video and just note down about 7 different things that you could have seen behind this magical door. Now, we want to build on those ideas. I want you to take your ideas and add more description to bring them to life. And again, let your imagination run wild. Now, I could write the starter sentence, I opened the magical door and saw, and then just put one of my ideas, which was a rainbow. But I want to bring that rainbow to life. I want to give it maybe a personality. I want to describe it in more detail. So I've written, I opened the magical door and saw an iridescent rainbow leading to another world. Let's have a look at another sentence. I opened the magical door and saw a smile. I want to develop that smile. I opened the magical door and saw a welcoming smile as wide as a Cheshire cat's. One of my ideas on my original list was a fairground, but I don't know anything about that fairground at the moment. I opened the magical door and saw a fairground. I opened the magical door and saw a bustling fairground. Lights, candy floss, families, excitement. Now, in all of these examples, what I've done is I've taken the original idea and I've slotted in an adjective before it. A fairground becomes a bustling fairground. Then after the noun, I've added some sort of description. My description in this example is purely a list of things I saw. In my next example, I opened the magical door and saw a shadow. So once again, I want to add an adjective before the word shadow and some other sort of description. So I opened the magical door and saw a confusing shadow with 3 heads and no body. Already, the reader or the listener has got a better idea of what that shadow looks like. And finally, this one is a little bit different. I opened the magical door and saw my reflection. I opened the magical door and saw the reflection of myself standing, staring, searching and asking how all this was possible. So, what I would like you to do is to stop the video and pick maybe 4 of your ideas and expand them so that you will end up with 4 verses, and they'll be written like this. I opened the magical door and saw, then your idea, a world turned upside down, and then your extra description. I opened the magical door and saw the reflection of myself standing, searching, staring, questioning how this was possible. Here are 2 more examples, and I'll leave this slide up so that you can see the pattern. And also, whilst you're writing your ideas into verses, have a look where you could add different types of punctuation. Maybe it's ellipsis for a pause, maybe it's a dash for a pause, maybe it's commas, so that it emphasises the different parts of your sentence. Stop the video, organise at least 4 ideas into verses. Now you're going to explore your other senses. We've described what you saw when you went through the magical door. But you could also use these sentences as starters. I opened the magical door and heard. I opened the magical door and smelt. I opened the magical door and touched. Or you could interchange this with I opened the magical door and found. Let me explain a bit further. Now, I've taken my fairground idea that I used before, but now I'm going to describe what I actually heard there, not what I saw. I opened the magical door and heard a bustling fairground, screams, cheers, music and laughter, all the fun of the fair. So I've imagined what I would hear, and then I've actually put in inverted commas something somebody might shout at the fairground. I've used this idea for my next verse. I opened the magical door and heard a giant mobile phone barking out orders, battery low, please recharge. So you can have a bit of fun with this. You can bring an object to life by making it talk. In my next example, I've used my sense of smell. And during the first lockdown, my daughter moved back home and she absolutely loves cooking, which was brilliant because she cooked every night. This reminds me of her. I opened the magical door and smelt my daughter cooking tea, fresh tomatoes, homegrown carrots, fragrant spices, a vegetarian delight. Stop the video now and write 2 or 3 more verses using a different sentence starter. Now finally, you've got all your ideas as notes on your piece of paper, so you need to go over them, choose which verses you want to include, decide the order of your verses, give your poem a title, and finally write or type out your final copy and send it over to us. You could even record yourself reciting your poem.